Can I help you out, sister?
James, you can play that. That's awesome.
Well, I want us to play, but this is not about me, this is not a concert, so I'm prepared to play those people come in.
That's
I'll play that topic piece at the end.
Somebody suggests that I can just do it.
I told you it's a practice on tools.
That's so cool, James.
Specifications
Oh,
are
wonderful.
those
Isn't it nice over here? This is going to be the nicest.
This is the best spot.
Yeah.
Christian context was not quite as good. But it's a nice,
Between
I think so. Oh yeah, I saw him. Yeah.
Or him. Well, he got to sleep earlier than I did, I guess.
So what?
I guess he got to sleep earlier than I did, so.
Yeah.
I don't function without my 7 hours at least.
tell me about it.
But of course, we have to do that often, don't we? I'm pretty psyched for this. The space is really nice. I feel very invested in this article too.
All right, we got a nice view of the kids. It's gonna be great. JD, can you come look at this? I'm just gonna make sure.
No. Oh wait, sorry. There's baby you are in there.
What?
You might be on the edge under that box. You're also.
Well, I just gotta make sure, like, someone of his height is. Yeah, so just stand there. Yeah, so. Yeah, so he's gonna just be in there.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, definitely in there now.
Okay.
We need to put that little stand up, huh?
Say what?
Yeah, it was on the end.
Christian, I'm gonna put this in your bag.
Okay.
You don't do any photographs, do you?
No.
So my outfit's a little bit weird because I have a black blazer and blue pants, so it's just gonna be like
That's the last thing I'm qualified to comment on right now. I don't know, Dave.
JD, that's
Mariah thinks it's okay. It's okay, right?
Yeah.
I think because I'm a girl, I get to do it, right?
I think great.
Thank you, piece of shit, right?
Huh? Hello? Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Oh.
Hey, Noah. Stop. You're gonna be right there. No, that's good. And also one of these.
We can start about 1 minute. Perfect. Yeah. Well, good morning. Welcome to the final day of the fall 2013 semester of School for Ethics and Leadership. I'm so excited that all of you are here. So excited that we're going to be sending our kids back to you and back into the world in just about an hour. Thank you for coming. Before we start our closing ceremony, I thought it would be important for us to gather together as parents and friends and family members to talk a little bit about what these kids will need extraordinarily quickly as they make the transition home. In order to help facilitate this process, we have put together a post-graduation guide with and gardens and gigs and that out. If you are a parent or a guardian, you can take one of those. If you're a sibling or a grandparent or something, it may not be quite enough to go around and hopefully you can move on with someone else. We want to talk a little bit about academics. We want to talk a little bit about the venture projects that the students will be doing. We want to talk a little bit about college. We want to give you some ways to stay involved. We want to give you a little bit of advice from the students about what they might be needing right now in the next few days and weeks. And then I want to make sure that we have time for questions. Before we do that, I would love for us to go around, and we can just start here in the front row, and you can give your name and the child that you are associated with that.
I'm Rose McMahon from Giant Queens Way. I'm Liz from Giant Queens Way. I'm Dawn from Giant Queens Farm.
I'm Eric, and I'm Ashley's dad. I'm Ray, and I'm Rebecca's dad.
I'm Lindsay. Lindsay and Zoe's mom.
I'm Judy, I'm Sarah's grandmother. I'm Kathy Blackwood, I'm Sarah's mom.
Kim and Jack.
Steve, I'm Jack's dad.
Charles, baby's mother.
Trisha, who's mom.
Okay, Brandon, Brandon's mother.
Susan, Grant's mom.
Brandon's mother. We have three brothers and sisters.
Susan, Elena's mom.
Gina, let's go. Coffee, Cameron's dad.
Alan Pop.
Dr. Mercedes, Cameron's dad.
Carla, his sister.
Janae, Lisa's mom.
I'm Anne Marie. I'm Yvonne's mom.
And Laura's dad. Chris Ward.
I'm the one who was mom.
There, my mom's dad.
Wonderful. All right. I want to recognize that Doug Lacey, the chair of our board of trustees, and the faculty members who are in attendance for this evening as well. Let's start by talking about academics. If you look at that first page there, most of this hopefully is a reminder to you all. SEGL sent surveys home to most of your children's teachers before the semester began. And we said, where do you expect this child to be? Where do you expect this child to be? Yes, that's what I want to say. At the beginning of January. And then we tried very hard to make sure that our curriculum lined up with those needs. It's very possible that your child may be a chapter ahead or half a chapter behind, or that the way that we taught the material was a little bit different than the way that the physics teacher at home, that the English teacher at home has taught it. But just know and have confidence that we gave those surveys out, and also that there have been 8 graduating classes before this one who have gone home without any major academic issues. If you do detect a glitch, please contact Katie Black, and her email address is right there. Maybe you can also say just a couple words about grades and comments and advice letters.
Sure. So we are in the process of finalizing grades and comments and advice letters for your students. I'll be sending those out via email to you, also to your administrators who should see those contacts at school in about a week or so. And then I'll also be sending a concrete transfer email to the school. So let me know if you have any questions or if any of those materials you don't get to what you place in the school. I'm happy to send them on across.
Like you said, this, but you've got a really quick turnaround before at least some of the holidays that are coming up. So ask your patience sometime in the beginning of the new year, probably when you send this out. Great. Part 2 of the social venture project. There's a few paragraphs there, but I want to call your attention most directly to that last paragraph and the first sentence of that last paragraph. Some of you may have a little bit of angst. Your child has said, I'm going home and I'm going to start this organization. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, with all the other things that are going on in the junior year, how can this possibly be possible? I don't want to help, or it's a crazy idea. How's this going to work? Please remember that this is your child's project. It's not anyone else's responsibility to ensure it is successful, nor should it be. Launching something new involves challenges and even failure. Indeed, failure can be a great teacher. The students know this. We encourage you as parents, friends, family members to support and encourage them, but to let your child's leadership and initiative guide the project. Their leadership, investment, and hard work will both further their success and enhance their satisfaction when they achieve success. Also want you just to note that many of our graduates have enjoyed describing their project on their college admissions essays, and that's been very helpful in distinguishing themselves. So get to know that also to be the main reason why they're completing special projects. Doing something, learning from it, doing something by yourself. It's a little bit outside the norm. Can be good. Okay, speaking of college, if you skip to that next page there, number 2, all of the students this semester have received 2 college counseling sessions as a group. I gave both of those college counseling sessions. They've also had, if they want, they've had some individual college counseling sessions with me, with other faculty members, with Ray Peterson, our academic emeritus, who was here for a week and a half earlier this semester, and the college counsel at the Lakeside School in Seattle for 30 years. And they all filled out a preliminary interest survey where we asked them some basic questions, and then based on their answers to those questions, a little bit of my intuition and a few other magical things, we gave them a list of 10 colleges that maybe they would be interested in looking at. We did not take into account your child's SAT score or your child's GPA, anything like that. And we gave a maximum of 1 Ivy League school to all. So the goal here is not necessarily to come up with the same list as the college counselor at home, but to get them thinking about the college process, getting them thinking about a range of schools that meet criteria that they are excited about, and maybe a couple of schools that are outside their comfort zone in some way. I can answer more questions about that if you'd like at the end. They are welcome to turn to us for informal college counseling sessions from here on out. I already have about 3 meetings that I'm going to do between now and Christmas with graduates who want some sort of advice. And that's great, and that's what we want. That's what part of what we do is work for the best fit. They should feel very comfortable asking us for college recommendations. Over 90% of our students do ask one faculty member for college recommendations. It's generally not particularly helpful to ask more than one faculty member for college recommendations, given most colleges require 2. But it can be very, very helpful, again, for us to say this child matched academic wits alongside some of the best and brightest students in the country, a really diverse group of people, and she has to live with them. That's a really nice thing for us to be able to say. We can also help down the line if your child is on a wait list. Sometimes we can write a wait list letter. To have strings to pull, and sometimes we know certain folks need to feel that is ethical. But there are some things that we can help with in that process. And then, just if you're interested, here are the list of schools that our graduates attend, and then at the bottom, the top schools that we attend, meaning the schools where we have the most students. Had a really exciting early decision process for a number of kids, and there also were a number of kids who were preferred or who were not accepted. And again, the goal here we've been just to find the best fit, not the thing that's most impressive cocktail parties. Okay, there's a little bit about the college process. Ways to stay involved. Hope that this is of interest. You are all part of the extended SEGL family at this point, and you may want to stay an active member of that family. Here are some ways that you can help us. Number 1, you can assist in our admissions process. You can connect us to administrators. You can speak with prospective families. You may remember how you were when your child said, I'm really interested in applying to this semester program, watching these students twice, and being able to talk with somebody who is your age, whose child has been through the experience, can be very, very helpful. So if that's something that you're excited to volunteer for, that would be wonderful to know. And then if there are new schools that we haven't reached out to, new programs that serve different populations of kids, we'd love to make contact with those folks. Just a word about connecting with administrators. One thing that's really helpful for you and for your child to do if you and your child like this experience is to find the administrator at your school who is responsible for semester programs or for allowing students to go to semester programs and just say, thank you, it really made a difference to my child and to me. And that helps to solidify the relationship with school. Second of all, if you have guest speakers that you are interested in connecting us with, students met with Chuck Sugar this week as a grandparent. We made that connection. A lot of the reason why some of our best speakers meet with students is because parents and friends of the school say, hey, I need something. We can't always accommodate every guest speaker every single semester, but don't hesitate to send an email. Chris Latch is our ethics and leadership coordinator, and he's probably the best person to get in contact about that. We would love to hear your feedback. And I've listed my assistant, Brittany Dawson, as the person who can compile all of that, giving you some questions. Hopefully, this experience mostly was a good experience. There also might be some ways that you would hopefully improve for the next generation of students. And we really want to know you don't have to be shy or somebody's feelings or something like that. We get better through feedback. And this experience is better because 8 generations of SEGL families have given us that. So that's something that we love immediately, or you may want to wait for a couple of months and see how the transition goes and see the connection in your child beyond just speaking on your face. So giving us feedback is really helpful. Number 4, we have a new parents committee, and I've listed the 2 interim heads of that committee. If you are interested in helping to support the school's mission through hosting events, through facilitating networking for students and for parents, assisting with our development needs and our communications work, desire to spread the good word about SEGL, please contact them. We'd love to have a vibrant group of parents connected to the school and pushing us forward. And then finally, and a lot of you have already provided number 5, and we're very, very grateful for it. We run in part on tuition, but in large part on donations, and our parents are core here. And you all know that we have this really exciting $600,000 challenge grant this year. The Community Trust in North Carolina has challenged us to raise $600,000 by June 30th. And if we are able to do that, they will match that, creating a $1.2 million endowment. And that endowment will be solely for scholarships to make sure that other students whose parents can't afford tuition are able to enjoy this kind of experience. We don't have hockey rinks, and we don't have new football stadiums and things like that. Our money primarily goes to financial aid and to supporting the student experience here. So if that's of interest to you, please do that. I have a huge pledge from interested. And again, what really matters to us is participation. There are donors out there who are able to get at a bigger level, but knowing that we have it's about 100% parent support every semester makes a real difference to our foundation. Okay. The last page there is just sort of for fun. It's an SEGL philosophy. Your child is going to come home and say certain things that you don't recognize. They're going to talk about Coca-Cola, or they're going to say, I I'm working to narrow my gap, or they're going to do this, and you're not going to know what that is. And that's just a fun little glossary of terms to help you speak fall 2013. Okay, a few words about what the students are needing right now. They're going to come through here in a few minutes, and we're going to, they're going to be in various states of disarray. And I want you all to know that they are all wonderful. They are articulate, they have grown a great deal here, and they are all very, very sad to leave. We spent about 3 hours last night as a community in a Quaker-style meeting. Each student spoke only once to the group. Each faculty member spoke only once to the group, and we went about 3 hours. This experience really, really means a lot to them. And it's going to be hard for them to articulate that to you, at least for most of them to articulate that to you, for a while. So I'm going to try to articulate a few things that they might be thinking right now in their words. First thing I want to do is read for you a journal entry that a student wrote. This is from midway through the semester, and I think it does a nice job of explaining some of the good things that happen here at SEGL. As we approach our first break, I've started to look back on our first 6 weeks. We've done a lot. I remember our first days here doing the spider web and the minefield and the trust fall. I remember the ethics and leadership flex period with the casual versus look good versus formal fashion show. I remember move-in day and seeing everyone for the first time. I remember saying goodbye to my mom and all the tears in bed. We had our first case study with Bud Crow. We've already done the line and the speech thing with this semester. We went to H Street, the museums, to Chinatown. We've written essays and raps and civilized and journals. I've survived the day with 3 hours of sleep. I've probably walked 1,000 miles in heels. I've wasted like 12 hours of my life waiting for a bathroom. I've called home 8 times. I haven't cried myself to sleep once. I've changed dream jobs 3 times. I've been mortified once, and I've learned to triple mute my phone. I had to defend my beliefs more times than I can count. I've changed my opinion twice. I've adopted new ideas every single day. I've overcome butterflies in my stomach more than 10 times, but probably less than 10. I've significantly supplemented my knowledge of housekeeping. I've relearned organization and self-management. I've had 3 crushes. I've perfected the harmony of the very good talk show theme song 4 times. I've eaten 5 tons of sweet potatoes. I've knocked 1 minute off of my 2K time on the birds. I've met 19 inspirational guest speakers. I've had 1 sweet 16. I've made 23 fantastic friends who I expect to see at my wedding Sunday. I've learned so much in the past 6 weeks. When I think back about the girl who showed up here on the first day, I feel significantly older and more mature. Not only have I learned more about the world, I've learned so much more about myself and who I am. I know more about my fears and my weaknesses. I know what comes easily to me and where I struggle. I know what I believe and why. At the same time, I've asked a lot of questions in the last 6 weeks, a lot of which still sit with me. I guess what I'm trying to say is that there has been so much growth in what feels like so little time. What other change will come if we're remaining 2/3 of the semester? Already I've come to think of this place as home. There's still some differences to overcome, but every day I become more comfortable. Feelings of anxiety and homesickness come and go, but they've gotten better with time. I wonder if I'll feel homesick for SEGL over the long weekend. How will it feel to fly home for the first time in 6 weeks as a new person? How's that for 6 weeks? This morning, I asked them to fill out little cards here. I said, what do you want your parents to know right now? What are you needing right now? And I want to read from them anonymously. And then I want to make sure that we get time for questions. Don't ask me too many questions right away. Please understand if I can't answer things or talk about it. It's not that I don't love you or that I want to exclude you, but it's difficult to put this experience into words. I still love you just as much as before, but please know that it takes some time for me to get over this and show that again. I prefer we not talk about the future just yet. That can wait. I would just like to reflect on the experience I just had. That's all I ask. I have some questions, but I don't know how to answer things like, what was the best moment, or what did you learn, or sum up the semester in one sentence. So let's not do that. I want updates from home. I don't know what's going on in your life. Inform me. I need patience. Please don't ask me, are you okay, every time I cry, or you seem upset when I am solemn. Yes, I am okay, and yes, I am upset. But asking me those questions does not help. Respect my space as much as I love you, and would love to share all of SEGL. It is an experience we'll never be able to understand ever. I apologize. I want you guys to give me some space and let me tell you about SEGL. Also, I will be thirsty. Please get me water. I want my parents to know that I am now ready to tackle the real world. And if that means I have to do certain things you are worried that I'm not ready for, or high schoolers supposedly can't do, I am ready. Don't talk about college. Ask about my time here. Trust me. Support and encourage me. Hold me accountable. Tell me to remember how hard I worked. I like my parents to consistently question my thoughts and actions and hold me accountable for everything. And I want them to continue to push me to be the best person I can be. Mom and Dad, please continue to support me in my experience. Be engaged with me and ask me a lot. Just remember, I love them. I love you guys. I love my friends. And don't forget that even though it will seem for the next few days, I only want to do the SEGL. Thank you for your continued support. It means so much for you to be here. Please make it easy for us to come back for him. Please do not pressure me over these next few days to think about what's coming ahead. Please understand that I'm excited to be with you again, but I will be going through the first symptoms for a while. Please give me space to think, but also please be accepting of wanting help or to talk. Thank you. I love you. I love you, but I will be more sad than excited. Brace yourself for that. I will leave the room if you say the word college. Love me even more. Just a few things that are on my mind. They have the lead mark downstairs right now. Before they come up here and before we start our ceremony, are there any questions that you would have about anything that yes?
Is that Kleenex up there?
Yeah.
It's
I forgot mine.
It'll be a shared cleanup. I'm a myself, and I was a fusion content, so I maybe feel my lights a few months. But yes, I think that will be I can go back to you. Anybody else with a question?
What's it like to do it after the students leave?
Usually there's a period of sort of sleep morning, that happens. We will complete our work within about an hour after the ceremony is over. And all of them will have friended us on Facebook, which we allow once they're no longer in my care. And they stay in touch. And sometimes we know that over $50 come back every year before that. They're constantly writing notes, calling me on my birthday, things like that. Really making the stress sometimes so it's a very we're sad to see them go. Happy to believe in them. But they just joined this really, really good. Great. So what's going to happen now is the students are downstairs and they're going to file in here. And I'm so happy that our resident Renaissance man, James Warren, who teaches Latin, Arabic, he is the school's attorney, he is on board of Serene School in Jordan, many talents. And one of those talents is that he's actually working. So he selected some secular music to process in and maybe process out. So thank you in advance for all the work that they're going to do. So he's going to play us in, and we'll just take a couple of minutes as the students are coming in. And then one by one, you'll hear from them, and we'll hear from the faculty. Again, thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to us, and thank you. Good morning and welcome to the graduation ceremony for the class of fall 2013 at the School for Ethics and Global Leadership. My name is Noah Bopp. I am SEGL's director. Join me in turning your cell phone off at the beginning of this ceremony. As we begin our ceremony, I want to welcome and acknowledge SEGL Board Chair Doug Lacey will be helping us to hand out certificates today. Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention. A kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold, swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, while at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon gentles all the flat, unraised spirits that have dared upon this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France, or may we cram within this window the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon. And let us on your imaginary forces work. Think when we talk of horses that you do hear them printing their proud hooves in the receiving earth. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts. For 'tis your thoughts that must now deck our kings, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply me, chorus, to this history, who prologue like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play. Shakespeare gave those words to his chorus at the beginning of Henry V, which you all read for English class this semester. And I gave those words to you at the close of our first morning meeting together on September 2nd. In that speech, Shakespeare tells his audience, this is just a stage, and this is just a set. These are just actors, and these are just costumes. If you want this performance to be any good, you must use your imagination. You must use your heart. You must use your mind. You must believe in our shared endeavor. The same, of course, is true of SEGL. If you want your semester in DC to be successful, you must use your imagination, your heart, and your mind. You must believe in our shared endeavor. We, your teachers, are honored that in the past 4 months, each one of you has used your imagination, your heart, and your mind to its fullest extent. Each one of you has believed in our shared endeavor. And I have no doubt that each of you is ready to change the world. Our ceremony today is simple. Each member of our student body and faculty will be given the opportunity to share a few words along, excuse me, and then we will eat lunch and say farewell. And so with that, let's turn to our first speaker, Asher Lehrer Small.
Hey guys,
As I think you all have heard from your communication with people here this semester has been really, really incredible. And to kind of a bit of a metaphor for my growth, I think we can, or a microcosm more, would be my French class this year. At the beginning of the year, I came in with some knowledge of French and with some knowledge of French culture. But throughout the year, we went to different embassies and talked amongst ourselves, and I really grew from conversing with each other. I took a lot and gained a lot from what my peers and my teacher had to give me. And then at the end of the year, we did this really kind of perfect closing project, which was a policy document on France's relationship with its former colonies, and we presented it to some people from embassies we had visited. And there was one moment after we had presented it that one man asked me a question in a specific, with rapid pace that I certainly would not have understood at the beginning of the year, but I was able to comprehend and answer the question fully in French to my surprise. It was a bit of a culmination for me of the French class, and then spreading that to the whole experience. I really think that what I've gained from every person here, literally every person, has been so incredible, and I appreciate it so much.
We have a graduate. Just want to let you all know it's a tradition that our graduates give each graduating class a gift to welcome them into the SEGL graduate community. And we have Suhaib and Pete from our very first semester and Maya from our last semester here to hand out the gift. It is an SEGL umbrella to shield you from all of the raindrops of life. Thank you. Our next speaker, Bibi Lachapa.
Coming to SEGL was kind of an impulse. I applied because people told me to, and because I wanted to get away from school, but I really had no idea what I was getting into, and it took me a while to realize that each and every one of us belonged here. I think I had this moment of reconciliation with myself when I was walking home one day, and I had this offensive experience, and I was talking with my mother, and she said, "Are you planning on bringing your guitar home for Thanksgiving break?" And I said, "No, I'm sorry." I said, "I'm gonna take my guitar back home." She said, "Oh, do you have it with you already?" And I said, No, I'm going to bring it from Boston to here. She said, "Oh, you mean home as in Washington, D.C.? And I said, yeah, I guess so. And this isn't to say that my home has been replaced, my home in Boston has been replaced, but that I have found another home here, and 23 more homes across the country. And I've come to realize that I define home as where I'm around people who love me, who support me, who challenge me, and make me think. And every single person here has made me question myself, has made me reaffirm something in myself. I was talking with Chelsea once during advisory that there's an argument that you're most happy when your home, your place of work, and your place of recreation are in a triangle. The smaller that triangle, the happier you are. And considering that my home in 202 East Capitol Street is a 30-minute commute to the academic building where we do our work. And considering that my recreation is on the National Mall, which is a 2-minute walk from the dorms, I'd say that I'm very, very happy here. I don't think I've been happier in my life. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who's brought these wonderful people here, and to all the people here for making us and I'm really good. Thank you.
Nora Krolich.
So I have this weird experience sometimes when my friends ask me what I do. I tell them that I'm a teacher, and they say, "What kind of students do you teach?" And I found this a very difficult question to answer. And then one night, you guys did something that made it very much easier for me to answer that question. It was about 10 o'clock, the night that the shutdown ended. And most of our students were in their PJs doing their homework. And they found out that you could go to the Capitol without like anything and watch the end of the shutdown. And they began to beg me to take them to the Capitol. And eventually we said yes. And I've never seen people change into suits from PJs that quickly. And I have never had to beg students to stop dancing down the halls of the Capitol building more intensely than I had to beg you guys. And I get to teach kids like this. And that's just fantastic.
I want to start off by thanking my parents, my family, my stepdad, everyone for supporting me here, and I want to thank all of you, friends and family of the other 23, for sending them here and supporting them here, because they have become my new extended family. And I guess I want to tell you all kind of the story from my semester. It was early October, and I hadn't really, I've been having a great time, but I hadn't really gotten that much out of the semester. And we were doing a case study on funding the social sector. And I was put in a group with 3 girls, 3 very strong, independent, very loud, outspoken girls. And for those of you who don't know me, occasionally I like to kind of throw around a little bit of absurd stuff. Sometimes I say it as it is, and they called me out on it. And I thought that the group was going to create World War III, that it was not going to work, that we were not going to get anything done, and it seemed that way up until the night before the project was due. And all of a sudden, I realized we're going to have to compromise here. Something has to give. I'm going to have to give in, they're going to have to give in, and I'm going to have to reconcile with them. And I did. And that project went well, and we ended up together in our whole group for the social venture project that we've been doing for the past 2 months. And our group has grown so close, it's been amazing. We won the Marshmallow Challenge during Social Venture Friday, and then it culminated in me. If you guys don't know me, no one can get me to dance. I will not dance. But those 3 got me to dance during the talent show, and yeah, they got me out on the dance floor. And basically, a few weeks ago I was talking to my advisor and I was like, I totally see through what you did. I know you put me with them in the group to challenge me. I know you're being devious, cunning. I totally see right there. And I was thinking, well, that was probably part of it, but they did it to challenge me intellectually. They did it to challenge me socially. They did it to make me work with people that I never would ever work with at home. And they did it to kind of create this opportunity, this learning environment that I would never get anywhere else in the world but here. And I want to thank them for that and giving me such an amazing experience.
Camille Ward.
So we do something here. We've done it 3 times this semester, and it's called 4x4s. And so we all go to the Capitol, and all 24 of us, we split up into groups of 4, and each person has the opportunity to speak for 4 minutes. And then afterwards, we all have a discussion. And what I found during these discussions is that after every discussion that we have together, there's such a strong sense of love and community. And really, being here has really taught me how to be a part of the community. And I just want to thank you guys, all of the parents and friends, for sending us here and letting us have the opportunity to build this community.
Brittany Dawson.
Although I didn't have the opportunity to teach you all formally in the classroom, I did have the opportunity to work with you all on the policy document. And when I first heard that you all decided to take on a wrong policy document, I knew that it would be a very large challenge because not only do we have to learn pretty much everything you could ever have to know about Iran as a country, but also about how it affects the rest of the region and also the world. I also knew that if there was any group of high school juniors that could in a few short weeks learn all of that information and be able to present it very eloquently, it would be you guys. And when you first presented the draft of your policy document, me and Chris, Noah, and Christian, there were definitely some holes. But in the few weeks between that and going to the State Department, you all just worked so hard. And not only did you work very hard, but you all supported each other through so many late nights and so many different frustrations that came up. And when you were finally at the State Department, I was just so blown away by how well all of you did, and you answered some really difficult questions that I think the average American could not answer or even understand. And you all did it because you work very hard, but also support each other so well. So thank you guys for letting me be a part of that. And thank you, parents and families, for sharing your kids with us and giving us the opportunity to help them grow a little more. And I know that in the next 20 or 30 years, when all of you are either at the State Department yourselves, or teachers, or founding NGOs, or think tanks, or whatever great things you all will do, you all will be so prepared to make the world better.
Well, that cuts out.
So SEGL was something that I really, really wanted. I don't think I've ever wanted or tried to get anything more than I have tried to get SEGL. And I was going to go no matter what. And thankfully, my parents supported me. And then I got here, and I met everyone, and I was like, what did I get myself into? This is crazy. This is going to be for the next 4 months. And I wasn't sure at first about my decision. But after a while, it was the mornings that changed my mind. You wake up, and there's music playing, and everyone's saying hi, and people are on their different schedules, and you're just, it's crazy and hectic, but everyone gets outside at 8 a.m. normally. We get to school. And it's just, everything was supported, and we all love each other, and it's like a family. And I think that feeling is the only feeling that lets us do so well. Our policy document, which Brittany just talked about, turned out really well and amazing because everyone supported each other so much through it. I decided to speak and present it, and everyone was helping me out. Everyone was saying, Colette, you can do it. That was probably one of the best feelings I've ever had. And I hope everyone in the future gets to experience something like this. So thank you all.
Grant McFadden. First off, my parents and family. I appreciate it. So I don't have a bit about my first few days at SEGL. So I come here, walk and see everybody, get intimidated, and then I'm like, these people really like. I'm not friends with any of these like tight people at home. There's just everybody here. There's like the entire spectrum. It's like I'm friends with a very small section. Like those are my people, right? That's what I right? I'm not going to go anywhere beyond that. So I go, and throughout the year, I'm like, wait, no, I don't have a type of person that I'm friends with. These are all amazing people, and I should get to know every single one of them. And so now I know when I go back home, and when I go back to people who I thought were not the people that I would be friends with, right? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look for the good that I've seen in all of you, in those people, because I've spent 4 months with all of you amazing 22 other people, I know the good is there. I know there is something to love in every single person, and I just haven't been looking hard enough.
The parents, I want to say thank you for allowing us to have your kids for these wonderful 4 months. They're amazing kids. I want to speak to you guys because I think I would like to share a message with you guys. The thing that I've enjoyed the most over the last week is hearing what you have to say about your 14-week year. And something that I've particularly heard a lot of is I have become a better person. I am the best version of myself that I can be today, thanks to being here. And I've also heard, and people have come up to me and asked me, how can I continue being this person back home where I don't have this community all the time, right? And my message to you is, you've changed yourself, you're going to change the world, and that is your choice to make. And sometimes I'm asked, but how do I know if I'm making the right choice? Yes? But you've all made those choices. You guys are the students who collectively chose that you would read books and play basketball with elementary kids on your Wednesday afternoons instead of doing your homework, instead of exercising, instead of doing whatever you'd like to do. You are the kind of kids who chose collectively to write a recommendation letter for Michael Powell, who is a service member of the Metro system, to tell him how awesome he is. You guys made that decision yourselves, okay? You guys all collectively have made such great decisions while you were here, and you can still continue making those decisions wherever you go. This community doesn't have to end just because we're leaving, and your choices are always right because you know them already. Whenever you come to me, I don't give you the answers. I tell you to ask yourself what you're asking me. And when you go, remember that you've already made those decisions here, and as you continue moving forward, you don't have to worry about not being the best version of yourself, because that is your choice to make. Thank you. Sorry. The last thing I want to say to you guys is that when I decided that I wanted to teach and when I decided that I wanted to work with kids, I thought, oh gee, it's going to be wonderful. I have someone to teach. What I didn't think was, what do the kids have to teach me? and it's been wonderful learning from you guys.
So I have kind of a nice little story that sums up how I feel about SEGL. So we had in English class, we read 3rd and 5th, and we were supposed to recite the St. Crispin's Day speech. And so I went up there, I was prepared, I was like, I'm a rock star, I got this. So I went up, first 5 lines, perfect, I was on fire, and then I stumbled, and I was just like, okay, what do I do now? And the rule was you could have 1 prompt. Someone could give you a word and you could continue, but after that, if you messed up and you waited too long, you were going to sit down, and that was the end of it. So I was like, okay, 1 word, got this. 5 more lines, I was like, I'm not going to mess up this time. And then I messed up, and I got this look of panic, and I started shaking, and I was like, oh no, what do I do? And so I stood there for 30 seconds, and I put my hand up, and I was like, okay, 45 seconds, and it was a while. And then I got it, and I was like, 10 more. And so I got those 10, and I was like, oh, I got it. And then I stumbled again. And I looked into my English class, and everyone there was like, you got it. And they were just cheering me on and looking at me. And I was like, I can't do it, but I couldn't sit down. I just couldn't do it at that point. I had gone so far. So I just took a second. I took probably a minute and a half. And at this point, it was 6 minutes had passed. It was not a 2-minute speech. And I just kept looking at my friends' faces, and they were just like, you got this. And I was like, I do have this. But at the same time, I was embarrassed, and I was nervous, and I just, I don't know, I was anxious. And so I started crying. But I made it through that speech. I got through, I ended it, and I walked off. And every single person in my class stood up and gave me a cheer and hugged me and told me that was awesome. And I think that speaks to SEGL as a community. We go through hard times, and we want to cry. And I asked Francisco to take me to Chipotle because I just can't deal. And we stay up late. But at the end of the day, after that, you learn so much about yourself. And every step of the way, your friends are there with you, supporting you and accepting you and telling you they love you. So I think that's the beautiful thing about SEGL.
Josephine Hayes McMahon.
One disclaimer, I've kind of lost my voice. So I think I just have one story that kind of encompasses the beautiful ending to this beautiful semester. And my roommates and I, this past week, we went on a walk to the Capitol during one of our exercise periods, and it was like brutally cold outside. And the 4 of us, we were walking around the paths of the Capitol, and then just like very suddenly, we just like laid down in a pile in a pathway, like right under like the Capitol. We were just a pile of like Uggs and jackets and blankets and hair and roommates, and we just sat there for like 25 minutes, and we're just looking at the sky. And it was dark outside, but the clouds were like purple, and so we were just watching the clouds and finding pictures in them. And people kept walking by, and like they wouldn't see us coming, would almost step on us, and then it was just, I felt so lucky because I don't know, most people in the world don't get to go to such an incredible place like SEGL, and I'm one of like the lucky people who do, and it makes me feel obligated to go and change the world because these people have changed me. And I am so incredibly proud of all of you guys, and I'm so thankful to have spent the past 4 months with you. You are all such beautiful people inside and out, and I will never forget this experience. parents as a word of advice about how to help these students transition back to their homes. And you heard a lot of good things from Noah this morning, but I have to say, I think the one thing that they really will need in their sort of like deepest, saddest moment is biscuits. I've really never met a group of students who loves biscuits very much. Normally we make biscuits if we're having like soup or something for dinner, but even if we're having fried rice, they want biscuits. And somehow I cook on Tuesdays, and I was always on the schedule where whatever I was making did have biscuits, and my biscuits, like I never thought they were anything special, but suddenly I started to get so much praise for them that I just started making them all the time, including this morning at 7:30. And I was thinking about the biscuits because normally when I cook and when I bake, I'm very like perfect about my measurements, and I really think about how much of each ingredient I need, and I look at recipes. But with biscuits, I just know what the ingredients are, and I just sort of like throw them in until it looks right, which is very uncharacteristic for me. But sometimes they always turn out really well. So I was thinking of this as a metaphor both for your group and just sort of for your life going forward. I think that now I'm the director of admissions. I did participate in the admissions process for these students, but now I'm sort of doing it at the helm for the first time, and thinking about the different elements that go into making a really great group. It's, you know sort of what the basics are and what you need, but you don't necessarily know how much of each thing, and you can need a little more salt or a little more baking powder and make this rise. And I think this group has been sort of a perfect combination of all of those ingredients, and I feel really lucky to have experienced that with them. And I think that going forward, I want you to think about all of the things that you've learned here and all of the things that you now know that you want to be a part of your lives. And remember that sometimes different amounts make it taste a little bit different or make them rise a little bit more. And no matter what, I think that your combinations will always turn out some really great biscuits. So, I will miss you. And thank you.
Okay, so last Saturday we had our last English class, and we read Plato's Allegory of the Cave. And it was at that moment, after everyone had gone around and reflected on that story, that I realized that I was kind of in this cave myself back home, kind of bonded to this suppressed way of thinking, especially in my school and my group of friends and stuff. And that kind of hit me pretty hard. But being here has been that kind of, SEGL has taken me out into the light and shown me how great everything can be in a completely different way of thinking. And they've challenged me to think harder and longer, think about things I didn't even know existed. It's actually quite spectacular what kind of conversations can come up, even at like a dinner conversation or on a walk home or anything like that. And you guys are all brilliant people, and I'm extremely grateful for that. But my eyes are still getting adjusted to the light, and I know I have to go back into that cave someday. But I know that the knowledge I've gained from everyone here, and all the faculty and all the students, and every class and every discussion, I'll take back, and I'll give everybody else in the cave that opportunity to kind of walk out with me and see what else is out there, because it's endless and it's amazing. So thank you to everyone. hearing Hannah mention the Citizens Day speech, I thought there was one line in the speech that, looking back on SEGL, was especially relevant. It was, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. And applying to SEGL, I'm not trying to insinuate that we have literally shed blood. Everyone here is completely healthy. Shouldn't be concerned for the parents. But we have gone through a shared, challenging, and often fantastic experience together. We have stayed up late editing each other's credos. We have had hour-long discussions over policy in Iran. We have fought Metro cars that deactivated. And through all of these experiences, we have really come together. Shakespeare said, we feud, we happy feud.
We band of brothers, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. The air so wild, his day shall gentle his condition. And the gentlemen in England now and then telling themselves the first thing we're on here. And over and the sheep, while they speak, that will say Christmas Day.
I just wanted to thank the parents for letting all of us come here. Thank the teachers for supporting us, and to my students, or my to my fellow students. So,
As many of you know, I'm the wellness coordinator here at SEGL, which means I don't have to do homework, I don't have to do grades. Basically, I like look at kids and I'm like, you're tired, like you should have some melted cheese. If you are stressed, you should go for a run, or like, you know, like eat some candy. You should smile. So last week during finals, they were all so stressed out, which of course I don't like to see. And so I was like, I'm smashing stressed. I'm going to do a lunchtime final. And so I wrote up this final to give them at lunch. And I just think that it's really worth sharing some of their answers to the final. So some of the questions, this question, I said, after a pigeon forms a cocoon, what does it turn into? One of the students wrote pigeon, arrow, cocoon, arrow, manifest destiny, and cream cheese. One of the students just circled a spot on the page and wrote, I licked the page right here vigorously. Students actually wrote a pineapple for that answer, and I was really impressed that two people were like, pineapple, obvious. And another question I wrote, is avocado the right name for what an avocado actually is? If you had to rename it, what would you call it? For a hint, the answer to the first part is no, it's definitely not called an avocado. And one of the students wrote a lavocado because they would be so much cooler if they were made out of lava. Yeah, duh. One of them wrote a conquistador. Another wrote just random Italian. Another question I wrote was, in 3 sentences, tell me how you feel about baby carrots. And we have some really good sentences here. One person wrote, crunch, crunch, gone. They are yummy, they are baby, they are orange. I like them, I like to eat them, I like to hear them scream as I eat them. So many good ones. I mean, it's marvelous. Baby carrots are a conspiracy theory. They spy on us in our homes. They ought to be detained in salad dressing. So that is to say, there's much more where that came from, and I will have these with me at lunch. So if you want to see the other, actually, no, there's one other part of this that is definitely worth sharing. So I gave a true or false section with such question as like, what's the name of the southernmost country in Africa? Where is Windex manufactured? A lot of you chose true for where is Windex manufactured. What I have to say, thank you. And then at the bottom of that section, I wrote, if you were unsure about any of your responses, please explain for partial credit. And the thing is that you guys wrote for that section is the best part of the whole thing. I'm just going to read a slew of them. The ones that are like, why can't I get full credit if I am unsure? Question mark. Life is unsure. Totally confident. Life is full of lies. I am the best. They are all correct. I was dropped as a child. The true ones are true. Duh. And yeah, I really can't get enough of these. But that is to say that if your kids are stressed, if you're going home, or if you guys are stressed, just email me, and I will send you a lunchtime quiz of any variety, or a dinner quiz, or a February 14th quiz, whatever you need. If you're stressed, you really just need to take the quiz, and that's what I'm doing.
I should say here, but I honestly don't think that I can say it any better than any of my classmates already have or will. So all I have to say is thank you.
Room.
Good morning. First of all, I have to take that cliche route and thank my family and faculty and my fellow students. I think it's safe to say that I definitely didn't think that I would learn nearly as much as I did or in the ways that I did while I've been here. I came with a very strict group of beliefs, and I didn't think that any of them would be challenged. And 23 of you all challenged them. And some faculty members that challenged them. And I think that that was definitely one of the most significant parts of this growing experience for me, is learning to take into account other people's opinions and other people's feelings. And in doing so, I grew so close to all of them. And I'm going to be really, really depressed for a while. But we have text messages and we have Facebook. So I hope that we continue to communicate and keep this fall 2013 bond together, because I love all of you. And thank you so much to everybody that has helped me along this semester. Wait for it.
Christopher Lash. So as all of your students have found out this semester, and this has been a painful realization for some of them, I really like jokes. I use humor often when I'm teaching, when I'm hanging out with students, when I'm working with the rest of the faculty. That's just like something I like to do. I'm not going to tell any jokes now, so like, don't worry. Plus, Chelsea seems to have cornered the market on that one. But I wanted to talk about humor and the way I see it here at SEGL. When the students arrive, there's always a little bit of a tentative period at the beginning where they're still sort of figuring out what's going on here. That's the time that the faculty is sort of helping to provide some entertainment, right? We all have a shtick, we all have jokes, catchphrases. We're sort of like feeding it to the students so that they can say, yeah, okay, that's a joke I know, and you know it too, and like, great, now we have something in common. And that's really fun for me, and I think it's fun for the rest of us as well. There's a really cool moment that happens, though, and I never know when it happens, but it happens every semester, when all of a sudden, I don't get the jokes anymore. When all of a sudden, it's not anything that we came up with, but it's sort of this self-sustaining, like, critical mass from them. And there's a reference or a joke, something that we weren't there for, and that's what creates the joy, and that's what creates the sort of connection, and that's what creates the friendship. So we sort of try to get things started, and then it sort of runs away from us, and they have created not just a community, but in a way a society, a culture. I don't know what you call it, but it is pretty special. And so there's an analogous moment, though, that happens, that has nothing to do with school, where this kind of happened for me when they were working on their policy document with Iran. At the beginning, we're introducing them to the topic. We're saying, this is something you might want to look at, this is something you might want to research. Less than 2 weeks later, I'm sort of a fly on the wall in one of the classrooms while they're firing information back and forth at each other with complete seriousness about what the best geopolitical move is to create stability in the Middle East. I wish you could hear those moments. It sounds like they have writers, I swear. It sounds like someone is scripting this for them. Because they've done such great research, they've absorbed this so well, that you can't really believe that a bunch of 16-year-olds are having this conversation all the time. The thing that creates both that moment and those hilarious moments when there's this self-sustaining humor culture is the incredible trust and vulnerability we have built. They're able to have conversations at a very high level, be they funny or not, or very deadly serious, because they care and they trust each other so much. It is a real treat to get to teach these kids, and it's a real treat to get the opportunity to start that. But the best part of what we do is the moment where we step back and let it take its own course. You are receiving your students and your children back. You're also receiving expert policymakers. You're also receiving expert comedians. You're receiving people who have learned to think and dream and love to a level that I don't think they could before. And that, as much as we would like to say that's thanks to us, it's not. It's thanks to the start that you gave them and what they've managed to kindle here together. It is such a treat to do what we do, and I wanted to say thank you to all of you for sending them. To you all, I will say that this is the last time today probably to leave here any of my jokes. Some of you are more relieved about that. But no, guys, to send you out into the world, I think each of us has a different way of saying it, but I will say that my heart is full with a lot of pride and a lot of joy. You have really made a difference to the school. So thank you all for Catherine.
So the first night at SEGL, we were all sitting in a circle in the academic building. And Noah, this was back when Noah was still kind of imposing. And Noah was going around giving us all these lectures about things that we need to remember in order to be successful at SEGL. And one of those things was shared vulnerability. He said we had to let go of all of our pretenses and be able to trust each other and just let our walls down. And I looked around at the circle of strangers from all across the country, some of whom I had exchanged a couple of awkward words with, most of whom I would never have associated myself with in school. And I thought, share vulnerability. That's cute. Really, but I'm proud to admit that through this semester, SEGL has proved me wrong over and over again. And there are these moments, like working with a group of people that were still kind of foreign to me during one of our projects about DC versus color and the Second Amendment rights. And we just somehow we click and we work together and we're synthesized into this one machine that produces some sort of favorable result. Or when we're sitting outside in the Capitol being eaten by mosquitoes, and during one of our 4x4s, and somehow being able to open up to each other like that when we're upstairs and on the second floor landing when it's way too early in the morning. In the morning, yes, not night. Or, you know, in our room when we're bonding over olive oil popcorn and we're chatting and somehow that gets more and more serious, but it feels not awkward at all. It feels absolutely natural. During those moments, I look at these strangers who I never would have associated with at school, and I ask myself, who are they? And I don't think I've ever been so interested in answering that question as I have been at SEGL. I truly want to know who each and every one of you are. And the more I learn about you, the more I want to delve into you and how you think and where you come from. So thank you so much for being who you are. Thank you for participating in shared vulnerability, which is a true concept and not a cute one. And thank you so much to my parents for giving me this amazing opportunity. And thank you for Noah Bob. I'm sorry for all the times I've mocked you. It's all in good fun. And I truly do appreciate the work.
Cristal Molina Segovia.
SEGL has meant so much to me. So many adjectives, so many words, so many emotions, so many tangible and intangible feelings. And so I'm going to tell you a story of the first time where I looked at my 23 brothers and sisters and thought, this is my community. So on the fourth week, on a Sunday, the girls usually have a girls' dorm dinner and the guys have a guys' dorm dinner. And so I was with Nora, and I decided I really wanted to cook for my fellow classmates. And I come from a very small family. I have a sister who's much older than me, and so I've always grown up sort of very independent, and my culture has been a huge part of my life. And so I cooked this traditional Latin dish called moro. I don't know if you've had it, probably not. It's very, never mind. And I sat down, and I saw everyone eating around me, and they actually enjoyed the food that I had cooked for them. And their compliments and the bright look in their eyes as they were eating made me feel so at home. And it was the first time where I thought, like, wow, I am part of a community. And so I thought of this exact moment while this Monday, or I forgot what day is it, we went to Good Stuff Eatery. And we were waiting online, all of us were ordering. And I was the last one online in front of Marae, who talked about lovely biscuits. And I was looking at everyone ordering online, and all of a sudden, I remember the first moment that I had cooked for everyone, and I started crying online in a Good Stuff Eatery. And I turned back around to Marae, and I was so confused. Marae, why am I crying? And I finally realized that I was crying because I don't think I've ever felt this type of love for these many people. And so I want to thank all the parents for sharing your children with me, and for bringing them up the way that you did, and for making them compassionate, empathetic creatures that they are. And I want to thank each and every single one of you, and I hope that I've touched, and I know that you've touched my heart in a different way, and so thank you.
So I have had the distinct privilege of community resident life here, which means that I get to create a safe and supportive home away from home for your students. And on that first Saturday, when movement happened and the Frankenstein people showed up, honestly, it was just 24 exceptional individuals, and I couldn't understand why you all would let us borrow them for 4 months. And then about a week passed, and I understood. I want to say to the parents, thank you for the risk you took you showed and the sacrifices that you made in order to make what was possible this semester happen. I know, and as an advisor, I'm sure many of the advisors can share, they're never trying to get calls from you because they're having so much fun they can call. And we understand how hard for many of you it was to have your, in many ways, your precious treasures away from you for 4 whole months, and I am very grateful for that. Students, I would posit that the best way to repay your parents for that is to continue with the perseverance and the tenacity that you've shown throughout the semester, to continue to uncover doors, to continue to do important things, and to continue to do what your parents and friends in the crowd and us as teachers all know you've always been able to do, and that's the impossible. So thank you.
Lila Ermalas.
This past week was finals week, and we were all very, very stressed. So JD gave me the opportunity of leading a yoga session after our finals were complete. And I had a room of 24, 25 people listening to me and doing down dog when I said down dog, and inhaling when I said inhale, and exhaling when I said exhale. And it was the type of power that I hadn't really felt before. And I loved it because I knew that all of the people in the room wanted to listen to me because they really cared. And so now, I'm not going to lead a yoga session, but I ask that everybody close their eyes. Everyone. And if you're recording, maybe put down your camera. And inhale. And exhale. And imagine the most beautiful place you've ever seen. Be a landscape, mountains, beach, the capital. And really take in how beautiful it is. And now open your eyes and look at the 23 people sitting behind me. And realize that that will never be as beautiful as each of these people. And so now they're ready to share everything they've learned with you. And so I say thank you, but on behalf of all of them, I also say you're welcome.
Martin Rather. So, I'm wondering, can everyone else kind of feel the joy and hope and emotion that exists in this room? Because I can really feel it, and I'm so honored and I'm so humbled to be here. And I'm just so thankful for each and every one of you, and you, just everyone. It's been so great. It's been fantastic. But I really hope that we can take this feeling, this atmosphere that all of us have created, and just keep it going forever. Thank you. Christian Starling.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to say to the parents, thank you for giving us your babies for an entire semester. The hope is that they are better than they were when they left your household than they will be. Again, that's the hope. Kiddos, you guys are great. I think I'm supposed to tell a story, but I think I'm just going to share like some thoughts. So good luck with that. So this is what I've been thinking about. I'm the director of advising. I'm also a co-teacher of English with Noah. And so I get to get into the students' minds a lot. A lot of advisors come to me, they go, Christian, like this is going on with my advising, and I go, it's okay. and I coach them through it. I also read half of the journals that the kids write every week. And so that in and of itself is sort of like this awesome and dread privilege. So I have a good measure in some ways of how your minds work, right? And so I know how flexible and awesome and terrible your minds are, like the power that your minds hold and the potential there for greatness, right? So that's one thing. You've got a lot of power. Scary amounts of power, right? But the other thing is, people, I think that like Uncle Ben once said, with great power comes great responsibility or whatever. I'm not so worried about that with you all, right? I think you all do good and great and magnanimous things in your time, right? So you have power, and you're also good. You're good people. Each and every one of you are. So not worried about that. Great. You have powerful people who are also good. Okay? But here's the thing, the world is not in shortage of good people, right? There's a lot of good people out there. A lot of people who are afraid to dream of a world that's different than the one we have right now, right? So if you never remember anything like I ever said to you, or any conversation we ever had, and if you're like in 10 years, like, who is that crazy guy who spoke talk English with Noah? Oh, right, it was Richard Kelly, right? Just remember I told you this, okay? Don't just do good, right? Do good creatively. Okay? Do good creatively. Creativity is really exciting. It requires a lot of power, which you guys have. It requires a lot of good, which you guys have. It's also very scary, right? There are a lot of people who want you to lead the wackest life possible, right? A lot of people are going to say you need to be boring to be successful. All right? Don't be afraid of that. Be creative. Okay? And if you get scared, that's all right. That fear keeps you on your toes. And if you get scared, every single other person in this room has your hand. I love you all very much, and thank you for a great semester.
So I just want to say, I guess I'm cliched again, but thank you to all the parents. I don't know any of you guys, but you guys must have been doing something right with your parents and your children, because you've forged some of the most amazing people I have ever met in my entire life. And I was thinking about this last night, and I was, and then I had a kind of a restless night, it was the last day. And I thought about one thing. I thought about if you guys can make these 24 amazing individuals, and these 24 amazing individuals can touch the lives of many others and forge their lives and create them into amazing individuals that can change the world. And that gave me rest. After I had that thought, I could fall asleep, and I woke up this morning and I took a shower and I came here and I had a clear conscience. And I kind of realized that the world is going to be an amazing place because these people will touch the lives of every person. And thank you.
Maybe coach.
Yeah.
I think I should say that this semester has challenged me and surprised me in ways I never expected. Before I left, people would always say, so you're doing this weird thing somewhere else that's not like what normal people do? I said, yeah. They're like, why? What's it like? I'm like, it sounds cool. I mean, I know we talked to the former speechwriter for Hillary Clinton, and we talked to the last man, American, to save Rwanda during the genocide. So, I mean, that's unique, right? They're like, yeah, that sounds cool, but I really had no idea what I was saying. I didn't know what I was getting into. I did it because my friends and my family like that does sound cool, so I thought I might as well try it. And we did talk to Alyssa Muscatine, and we did talk to Carl Wilkins, but we also had amazing conversations walking home from Union Station every day, talking about the benefits of nonviolence or violence. Many peer conversations about what Bo do in college, and things like how to raise children, how to go forward in life, all sorts of amazing conversations. And I've been touched by each single person here. And as I leave, I wonder how I'm going to share that with other people and explain what this experience has been to me. And I come back to the same place where I don't know what to tell them, not because it hasn't meant anything to me, but just because I know so much more about it now. And I don't know how to share that with people, but my new challenge is to find a way to build this community for others outside of this place. So, thank you.
Two people up together, but Krog and Nancy Glenn.
Well, I'm with a gentleman who says ladies go first. So I have something to say about the way the sun has embraced all of us and is communicating the unity within this group. Communications is wonderfully important. One day I was walking down the hall at school, looked through the glass window, and I asked, I think it was Christian, oh, who's the professor today? Guest speaker? It was Jackson. Well, this morning I sat here, I'm so grateful for Noah's inspiration after 9/11 and his leadership and the entire staff, and for Dudley and the board, and for all the parents who care so much about their students. And because communication is so important, oh, the stage is set just like this morning. No need for a microphone. The messages I'm already hearing are great, sometimes a bit profound, always individual, and each one poignant. And then I look under the chairs in front of me, and there are two bananas and a fork. Well, what's going on? And I learned that Colette one day had enough bananas so that every student gave Noah a banana, and something about at the end of the day, she gave him an orange, announcing at least it's not a banana. Well, I was kind of dumbfounded. I used to be a principal, and there's good in every experience. So I realized, well, that's actually the fun of learning and the fun of being a community. Some of what we need to grasp has to be understood individually. And it's a wonderful thing for me to have as a role model Bud Crow, who has 3 sons, and one of them, Matthew, wrote a book. And you know, this morning, many of the stories are based on real experiences, and there's always a point. And I'm interested in communication and fascinated that I've heard Bud speak many times, all over the country, in Canada, at school over and over. And I tease and say, well, I know the core of the message, but I have no idea what's going to come out of your mouth today. It's always fresh. And it took me a while to piece it together, but it's because Bud is authentic and he actually cares individually about every person in the audience. And that's a wonderful thing. Then when he tells his stories, there's great humility, and it's amazing to be able to learn from real life situations that don't go so well sometimes. the various life after, some lighthouse experiences that let you teach integrity and what's good for one and all.
Well, and after those experiences, our cottage cheese pancakes. One of the things that have been emphasized today is the home sense of SEGL. And I felt that from the first group that came through 4.5 years ago, great sense of home, a love for each other. That idea of love, I think, underlies really what SEGL is all about. For each other, for parents, what you've given to this school. And I just want to say one simple thing that a teacher told me years ago that has helped enormously. Just one little sentence. If you live to love, you'll love to live. I just found that true in some difficult circumstances. You all have been loving each other throughout the last 16 weeks, and you take that spirit home to your families and your friends to be able to replicate to some degree that spirit of love which underlies the SEGL. Thanks.
We have one last joke on Chris. I was supposed to appear at his talent show, and my car gave out. I was bringing my laptop over, and Chris had his laptop already. Now, we need a vote from the students, and it's an individual vote. The world is full of two kinds of laptops. Mine is a Bichon Frise, white and fluffy and wonderful. And yours is electronic.
Back here, yeah.
So if you can have only one laptop, do you choose the compassionate, loving, fully functional one? Or are you so fascinated with the wave of the future that you go with electronic? All those in favor of the one with 4 legs, put your hands up. Audience, hands up. 4 legs. Okay, all those in favor of high-tech electronic laptops? I think the jury's out.
So, I guess I'd like to begin by thanking my family who snatched it. So, hola más y pa, los quiero mucho. Gracias por dejarme estar aquí. Todas estas gracias a ustedes por haberme dado alas desde el principio. Right, so, so where do I start? I guess, oh yeah, I'm Oscar. By the way, I was that kid that didn't show up the first day. I'm glad to see all of you this morning. I don't have these anymore. So, I guess I'll just share something. I apologize in advance already, but I'll tell how my SEGL family is like a pair of shoes. Alright, so at the very beginning, you get new shoes, right? You like just looking at them. You don't really want to wear them. You don't want to get them dirty, right? You just want to admire them sometimes. And as time progresses, you fit into them. You wear them. They get comfortable. And then at the very end, there's always an end. And sometimes they're worn out. They're beaten, but you love them the most. Like of any time, you're just not ready to let go. But sometimes you just have to. I feel, in a sense, that's how my SEGL peers and staff, and you guys too, are kind of like those shoes. You want to hold on, and you should hold on, but you can't hold on, but you don't hold on. Just thank you all for making this possible, and stay in touch.
all received positions in the government, and we had to deal with crises that were thrown at us. And if it had been real life, it would have been the worst day in America's history. We had to deal with hostages in Russia, a shooting in Columbus, and some agent that was lost somewhere in Bolivia. And I think that entire time, though, I was just in awe of all of my classmates and the way they conducted themselves and managed to deal with these crises. And if these people had been in the government right now, I don't think we would have had the government shut down. I don't think that anything would have happened would go wrong. And I think that the world would be a much better place because of them. And I'm always just in awe of my classmates and what they have to teach me. And throughout that entire crisis, most of the time I had no idea what I was doing. I would just run around and make phone calls and call people in the situation room. But then once I got into the situation room, they would brief me on everything that was happening, and I really got to understand the world and what was happening in a new light. And I think that's kind of how I feel about the whole SEGL experience, is I would go into the situation room with all my classmates, and they would teach me something new. And they would teach me about what's going on in the world, and they would give me their advice on what to do about it. And I think that's the kind of thing that I will always treasure for my entire life, and I'm extremely thankful for it. So thank you, everyone, for what you taught me in the situation room and for the rest of my life.
James Warren.
At the start of the semester, I stood up and introduced myself as the school's lawyer and Latin teacher, and everybody laughed. They laughed again. Noah was kind enough to remark that I'm a man of many paths and I've done many things in my life, many activities that I like to do. But I have to say that of all the activities that I do, few have been as enjoyable and as satisfying as being a teacher here at SEGL. I'm sorry that at the moment I'm only teaching Latin, which means that I only have a small class of 2 students at a time, so I don't have the privilege of teaching everybody else, which would be really wonderful. I do, however, get to see everybody else because I like to come in for lunch before or after Latin. And I knew we were off to a good thing this semester when I came in about 2 days into the semester and I looked down the table and everybody was there and they were talking away and playing Scrabble. And I thought, these are people who didn't know each other from Adam 2 or 3 days ago. And suddenly they cohered into this group of people, and I knew from that moment this was going to be a wonderful semester. Let me share a couple of thoughts with you. The world is full of problems. When I was born, there were fewer than 4 billion people in the world. Today, there are more than 7 billion, and by the time you are my age, there will be 10 billion people in the world. There are resource challenges, there are going to be conflicts. The world is warming up. Not everybody believes that the world is warming up. And it's your turn, or it's simply your turn, to take on these challenges and to try to be part of the answer. You can't solve all these problems, you probably can't solve any of the problems, but you can be part of the answer. But I want to share just one thought. As somebody who speaks with an English accent, as you hear, I don't come from around here. Americans always love to say, where are you from? And usually that's a neutral question, you from Chicago, I'm from New York. When they say it to me, they think, where did you get that accent? And I think this country, when I was a little older than you were, I don't think when I first came here I intended to stay permanently, but one word to another. And this country's been very good to me, and it's been an extraordinary experience in many ways. No less so than SEGL's been an amazing experience to be able to report part of that for many years. I first encountered SEGL when it was just, well, before it existed, it was just a business plan in Noah's briefcase, and we had lunch together and he told me about this crazy scheme that he had to do this. But then came here as an Englishman in America. It wasn't like this when I grew up. Nobody told me when I was 16 or 17 that I could be out there being part of the answer. I want to show you just one thought that comes from the Washington Post last week. And that's something that it's one thing to be a citizen of the world, and take on all the world's problems and see everything through the prism of, it's all one world together. But also, being an American is important. This is an amazing country. I came here, I found it an amazing country. But it's also a country that has high aspiration, but it doesn't always live up to it. There are many challenges here. We believe in many good things, but following through on them politically is often a challenge. And I hope that while you're trying to be the best world citizens that you can be, as you take on all the problems,
But also try to be the best American that you can. Try to sell the world on what's best about this country. It's easy for people around the world to pick up what's worse about this country. But the best qualities are enduring, and people do believe in them, and they can be made to work. But the future lies in the hands of young people like you, who believe that and can go out and sell your conviction. So, goes to the
So I was definitely one of those teachers who thought that she knew I was given the opportunity to do something different, and it sounded awesome. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go to DC for a semester. And I had no idea that upon arriving here, I would realize how incredibly wrong I was. Through every discussion and conversation in class, pretty much I just learned more and more about how wrong I was. And not just because what I believed was wrong, but just that for so many things that I believed, I really couldn't justify it. And that's something that I'm going to take with me here, is that for everything that I believe, I have taken something from every single one of these people, and now can just explain to you exactly why, be it an experience, be it some sort of very logical reasoning or some emotional impulse, I can explain it. And it's something so valuable to me that I am so thankful to have. And I know that after today, I have to go home, and I'm going to go back to my regular community, and I'm going to be different. I'm going to be changed. I will have grown. And I know that I will be happy because I have been lucky enough to have this experience, and I'm lucky and blessed enough to take it with me. And for that, I say thank you.
Serene Akawi.
So yesterday we were in a group and we had to say something that we chose to, and I decided to compare SEGL to oranges. And then, commented on it, and so I went home like, oh no, I have to top my oranges, and what's better than oranges? And I thought of honey. Before I start, I'd just like to say sorry to Martin and Cameron for my lack of proficiency in the stock market world. But I looked at SEGL as an investment or stock thing. And I put it in there, and I didn't know if it was going to go up or down. I kind of just let it be, and I checked on it last night, and it rose really high. And that dollar I put into is like $1 million, and I feel really rich right now. And I just wanted to thank the students and faculty and parents for making me rich, because the stock market rose because of all of you. And thank you very much.
Alvin Friday.
So I guess I'll talk a little bit about the SEGL family and community, because they're not exactly the same. I'm sure many parents out there are sort of watching this in sort of disbelief, meaning that the children are able to come forward and some of these wonderful things. They've done these wonderful things that we found over the last few weeks. And you're like, wow, that's unbelievable. And as a family, it wasn't always this. Okay, like many families, we had our issues. We had meetings, and one of the staff came and literally said, I told them to carry their telephone. When they were walking out in the morning, I said, have your phone on. It's really important. I will call you. 10 minutes later, I called them. Didn't get an answer.
And after that, we sort of had to deal with issues, and eventually we had a meeting. And the meeting eventually ended up to something like, if you ever break that rule again, I'm going to turn this semester around and you will never have that privilege again. I swear to God, this is the last time this is ever going to happen. So as a family, there was conflict, there was love, there was support, there was all of that. And every semester, I think, goes through that. But furthermore, SEGL is really about community, and it's grown immensely. The first semester, it was Noah, probably bored, and very few people else. As the year went by, we have alumni, and we have an alumni family. And right now, we have another large group of alumni and families, and that really is what the strength is.
Volunteered to be the person in our group from the historical background and current status group for the Iran policy document to present to the State Department. So I was essentially telling people at the State Department what they already knew about Iran, but I had to pretend like I was actually experienced. And I gave a speech to Hillary Clinton's speechwriter, Elizabeth Muscatine, countless other things, to the Secretary of State for the simulation, which was the scariest thing of my life. And so you think I wouldn't be nervous standing here in front of all you giving a speech, but I am, so that's great. But essentially, I just want to say some great things I've learned here. Mostly the fact that I've learned how different everybody's life can be. Living here, I've learned what it's like to live in New York, what it's like to live in Vermont, in Jordan, and Chicago, in Seattle, and in Cleveland, and more New York, and Newburgh, and California, more Seattle, more California, more New York, more Seattle, Glasgow, Connecticut, remember that one, and San Antonio, but also in Boston, in Texas, sorry, in Houston, yeah, more New York, Atlanta, Dallas, New Jersey, and also I'm going to be from Durham. I'm going to be hanging out with more than they probably want to. I'm going to miss them a lot. I've just learned that like everybody here has such a unique experience. Everybody brought something new to this table, and I would want to share this with anybody else. I learned about passion, I learned about love, I learned about teamwork, I learned how hard it is to plan for all of us to go see Catching Fire as all the characters. Yeah, I just learned so much from you guys. I'm going to bring it back to North Carolina. Hope you make a difference. I love the community I made here, but I also realized that leaving SEGL was one of the most important parts.
Ivana Petros.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to say is I'm so grateful that there's not just like one SEGL class valedictorian, because I think if we had to pick one, there would literally be like an uprising, just like rising streets, and I would feel bad that all of you were deprived of hearing just the amazing things that come out of the brains and mouths of my, that was not very saying that, of my classmates. And I'm also really thankful that I got to meet Elizabeth Muscatine this semester. I'm not sure she's here, because I was about to come up here and give literally the most cliched speech ever and like compare life to a book, and like you just gotta keep reading even if you know your favorite character's gonna die in the next chapter. It's like really like anyways. But what I want to talk about is the biggest lesson I learned here. And in my entire life, I have never not been able to do something. I've never been told that I can't do something, and I've never tried something and not done it. And when I came here, I was not the most outspoken one in the classroom anymore, and I wasn't the one that took the most initiative in every class project and just basically bossed everyone around. And I didn't get a good grade on everything I wanted to, no matter how hard I tried. And it was a journey from going to the top to the bottom, where I didn't know that bottom existed, and then back to a place where I realized I'm better off for having experienced failure, so much better off than I was having never really felt it, because I cried and cried and cried over tests, I cried over my home life, I cried over stupid stuff like not having what I wanted for dinner and like really wanting my mom's cooking. But maybe that wasn't as good of a lesson as it should have been. But there'll be something there in the future. But and so I'm grateful for really everyone who guided me gently to the bottom, so it was like really quite of a crash landing, and then helped me understand myself better as a person who can fail and get back up, and fail and get back up, and fail and get back up. And so that's just something I'll carry from here. I've been humbled immensely by my cult, and something I want to be really quickly. Okay, ready? Yes. Yes. No. Awkward. What else? Not happy. There's one more. Oh, right. We're going to switch gears and segue on. Oh, and on behalf of the fall 2015 semester, we would like to make our first donation to the school of $6 in quarters.
The highest percentage of alumni could be. J.D. Black.
You all can see by now, the future is bright. These kids are going to change the world, and a new era of leadership is upon us. I'm convinced of it. So when a few weeks back Nelson Mandela passed away, I was watching the news, and I was hearing how, what Obama had to say about it and what all these other Americans randomly had to say about it. And then they showed people of South Africa, and they were celebrating. They were having a party. And I've been thinking a lot about those images and those sounds, because that's kind of how I feel right now. As sad as I am to let these guys go, I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. To see how they'll change the world, how they'll continue to change themselves and each other. And I'm excited about it. So Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who was another leader in the struggle against apartheid in South Africa, describes the South African concept of Ubuntu as I am who I am because of you. And it is that sentiment that I think is why these kids are going to be such excellent leaders. They've taught us all that concept in a different way, and they've taught each other. And I look forward to the opportunity that they will now have to teach the world.
Our rebels are now ended. My voice is now ended. The tide is washing the sandcastle away. And the time has come to say goodbye. And I know for some of you, that is a scary proposition. You are right to think the world is a difficult place. It is full of hatred and fear and injustice and loneliness. But just like you, it is also full of potential. As Carl Wilkins said earlier this semester, in each one of us, there's such a potential for good and such a potential for evil. Yes, you should be wary of the potential for evil within yourselves and within those around you. But most of all, you should seek and cultivate that potential for good. That is, after all, why you came to this place. Now you must work together in your various corners of our country in Jordan, and wherever you will go after today, to change our world for good. Shed some tears, get some sleep, and then go do it. And now a few closing words from SEGL Board Chair.
I just want to say a few words of thanks, because you wouldn't imagine how much I appreciate just the you, you. The first meeting just back in all. It's not just enough that you offer these students here an incomparable 11th grade curriculum. Had the chance at homecoming to sit to an example of the pedagogy you use in teaching English. Through the Ethics and Leadership program, you've exposed these students to the challenges that the leaders in the world face. And you've offered examples, tools, guidance, and knowledge. Not only how to face these challenges yourselves, how to embrace the challenge. You've understood, I think it's one of the most important things of this program, that teaching is not restricted to the classroom. From the residential experience, the students have learned to live in a community of people very different from themselves and conservative thoughts. That's true. With the foreign language class visits to the U.S. and different foreign embassies, the students have learned that studying language is not just the study of language, it is an exploration of culture. By exposing these students to some of the exceptional ethical leaders of our time, they've learned the power of the question. These students have been able to talk and be in the presence of Chuck Schumer, George Bolton, Lissa Muscatine, Bill Drake, Walter Dellinger, Jay Calamari, Laura Lane, and many others, of course. This is what you did, and you did a lot more. And you did it with a sustained passion that I continually am in awe of. And now to the parents. I thank you because you entrusted your kids to us. You entrusted them to us knowing that our motto was, change yourself and change the world. Therefore, you knew we'd be returning to you to change children. By sending us your children, you gave us a gift. It's a gift of society that I would return to you. A gift of their inquisitiveness, their passion, intelligence, their laughter, and we've all learned from being with them. In sending us your children, you've supported a unique and sorely-needed program. For your support of SEGL and for entrusting your children and your brothers and your sisters to us, thank you. And you, which is why we're here. As you started on your path to becoming ethical leaders, you took significant risks. You left the familiarity of your home and your friends and your school. You disrupted your planned curricula for your 11th grade year, which is probably the most important year college look at in the accession application. Many of you came to a very unfamiliar part of the country. All of you opened yourselves up and talked about it today. The vulnerabilities that come to continuously living in close quarters with other people. But along the way, you learned that taking risks is the core of leadership, and understanding the nature and consequences of those risks is the core of ethics. Along the way, you've heard from the faculty, you've taught us. The expression of your diverse backgrounds and your experiences, the expression of your knowledge and your character, the expression of your sadness and joy, which you've all taught us. Over the months as you work on your social venture projects and as you reflect on your experience in SEGL, what you've learned, the friends you've made, the things you pondered, what you felt, you will live to change. That was our goal. And I suspect it was your goal as well. And as you go home, you'll understand, as you did during your Odyssey, these words that you read from T.S. Eliot's War text. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our story will be to a life we started and know the place for the first time. Thank you.
2013 at the school. Class.
On behalf of the parents, I'm sure we're all incredibly moved this morning. We would like to thank the faculty and the staff. We have a small little token for each of you. We'll take it over to the luncheon. And it just says, "A world of thanks." It's a little globe of chocolate, and it has a gift card for you guys. So you can find it, your name will be on it. And then also, for our class gift, donated. Drum roll, please.
Thank you all very much on behalf of the staff and also on behalf of the future students who will not have to get their hands calloused or argue at school meeting about the best way to do this. It means a whole lot to all of us. Thank you very, very much. I know there are a number of parents who helped organize the class gifts and everything else that's come along with it. And I just want to make sure that I thank all of you as well. You know who you are. We're going to make the transition to lunch very quickly. Chelsea, you want to say any words of wisdom about lunch?
Lunch is set up next door. We are using paper plates, so we don't need to wash dishes. But there are labels on each flavor of empanadas, rubbing empanadas. So if you have any questions about allergies or any of that, you can come ask me. But otherwise, please eat heartily and enjoy lunch.
Thanks to James for playing us in and playing us out.